Okay, here we go. I was going to get a microphone. I don't know.
Can you speak
What?
I'm a mumbler, what can I say?
Come closer.
Against tradition, I just wanted to start by saying how amazing you look today, Kirsty, and how beautiful your dress is. Your hair looks pretty good too. The main reason for this being, you remember this special moment we just shared together, right now, and promise not to get angry with me during the speech. and you can never remember how good this time was, if there's anything you don't like. For those of you that know me, pretty well already know this isn't my idea of fun being stood up in front of you and speaking. And when Kirsty called Fred to tell him she was staying in IB for extending her hen for 2 more days, not only realised who wears the trousers, I thought I might be getting out of doing a speech. I also thought that she might be upgrading to a Spanish monk, but it turns out neither of us got that luck. Fortunately though, with Fred being such a colourful character he is, it's made the task a hell of a lot easier for me. For those surviving few of you that fortunate enough not to know Fred that well, my only advice would be, keep it that way. We met a long 18 years ago on Taster Day at Towers when we were 11 and I've not been able to shake the guy ever since. He was adamant at the time that he knew me from Cubs. I've never been to Cubs. But he stuck to that story then, I'm sure he will now. I could tell then though, he was a fun character to be around with a sense of adventure. Plus, he could fit an impressive £1.57 between his 2 front teeth.
It's a true story.
He also had a passion to dye his hair in every colour of the rainbow I can remember. And I remember telling him that he needed to be careful, otherwise it would start falling out and he'd go bald. I think we all know how that is. But hey, look at him, he's grown such a handsome young man, hasn't he? He kept most of us entertained at school with his creative ways to have a laugh and make it more exciting. I think 2 of his most stupid, and knowing Fred, his proudest moments, were when he made a flamethrower in class with an aerosol can, and then the other time when he shot a girl standing next to a teacher in the playground with a BB gun. Never, however, said he was the smartest of characters. He was a popular boy at school and had an eye for the ladies, which would often get him into trouble. I think he racked up an impressive record one year of about 50 fights. Sure, he didn't win a single one, but his time swinging and laying on the floor. It was taking part that kept. I kept him out of as many as I could, but luckily for him, his little brother Frank is now big enough to look after him when he gets himself into trouble. It's not all bad news though, as his cousin Dennis once informed me that he beat him in a wrestling match and managed to break his big toe. And considering his track record, however, I think we can all agree, ironically, he's managed to punch way above his weight.
Yeah.
He went through many phases and hobbies growing up. His choice of fashion was questionable enough at times, as well along the way. But luckily, Kirsty's taken control of his wardrobe these days and chosen the colours for us today. I'm pretty sure if it was down to Fred, we'd be walking around in a camouflage print suit. Fishing was one of his first hobbies, which he gave up eventually after he got taken to hospital with a fishing hook in his arse. As if that wasn't funny enough, at a tender young age. This is all I got, guys.
Come closer.
Start again.
Start again.
As if that wasn't funny enough. As if that wasn't funny enough, in his tender young age, he managed to arouse himself while going over the bumps in the ambulance. Only arriving with a hook in his bum cheek and a raging hard on. Disgraceful. Next it was skateboarding, which he gave up due to dodging knees. Still waiting for him to admit it was because Dennis and Frank were pretty much better than him. And then we had rugby, which was also a bit of a flash in the pan. Is that loud enough, guys? A bit more?
He's crying.
Yeah, that's what I asked. That's what I asked.
Keith's crying.
He's crying.
I've got Bacardi in my goddamn mouth.
And then we had rugby, which was also a flash in the pan when he realised there was too many bigger boys. Most recently though, he's been trying to play football where he always gives it 100%. And as he got into it a lot later than the rest of us, to be fair to him, he's not too bad at this one. Apparently, he had a great run while playing for Sorrento in Australia with some of the Aussie lads that are here today.
Whee!
He even won the league with them. Which makes me question how bad the standard of play is.
It's really good.
I'm confident though, that if he shows even half the loyalty to Kirsty that he has to his beloved West Ham, Man United, it's Liverpool now, isn't it? Come on, man, scrap that one. As I previously touched on, Fred was always a popular guy with the ladies when we were younger, and I think his never say die attitude was a great attribute to him during his younger years. This was way back when he wouldn't kick any girl out of bed for farting. Number one. The knockbacks that most should take a hint from only seemed to spur him on. With a 10 say no, 1 will say yes mentality. Personal favourite example was when we sat with him at a bar in a club and 6 girls walked past. He simply went, yes, 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 no, no, yes. Just like that, I was sat on my own thinking, how does he do it? And this sort of behaviour is why I always call him Freddie Nine Lives. A bit like today with the weather. He always gets lucky. So whatever situation he seems to get himself into, he comes out smelling of roses. This was about the time he left on his travels to go and work at a US summer camp and then off to travel Oz for the first time. At the same time, as a joke, he changed his MySpace profile to bisexual and went off in his merry way. He did have quite a few people asking questions. I'm pretty sure Bowley was one of them. Not in that way. At one of them, and he only fueled the mystery by snogging Lee Strickland.
Hey!
Yet again, as another joke. Lee wasn't the first guy you snogged while on a drunken night out, though. Can you remember who it was, Weasel? Yeah?
Sleazel.
I can, however, say he's mostly straight, and the kissing is just another strange thing he does. Hey, Gary! It's getting a bit silly now. Understand Gaz, though, was his latest victim in Australia, and I can confirm that Fred must have liked it, what he got. Fred must have liked what he got, because he went back for round 2 in our beef on the stag. If you can't remember, lads, I've got it on video. I'll show you later. But if it counts for anything, Gaz, all 3 of you are in our beef when he chose you again. It doesn't mean he fancies you boys more than me though, because he once actually drank half a pint of my piss out of his own choice. He knew that one was coming. He's always been keen to mess about and play the joker though. A prime example of this, of his pranks, that I'm not sure ever came out at the time, was when we were away on the last weekend when he decided to fill Craig Wallace's hair gel with bogies. Naturally, Craig hadn't realised until it was too late and he was walking around with the contents of Fred's nose. Felt it was only right to let you have a bit of closure, Craig. Most recently though, when we dared him to strip off in his stag and jump in the pool early one morning, he was already half naked by the time we finished the sentence. He decided to spend the rest of the early hours running around our hotel room thrusting his sausage in all of our faces. I think Bert's mate Big Jack was his main victim the last I saw when I went to sleep. I was informed in the morning though that he'd got me while I was sleeping, which probably explains the mouthful of ulcers I came home with. Checked out though. Another of Fred's special tricks is wetting himself. His bed. Others, just pretty much anywhere when we live together. If he's had one too many drinks, it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. I think Ralph was his first victim some years ago when they shared a tent at a festival. And last year I fell victim to the same fate when I woke and stood there he was covering me from head to toe. It's pretty much an indicator of how much he's grown up in the last 10 years. Then, when we were in hostels in Australia, he seemed to make a habit of it. I just thought it was because he was missing his mum so much. but so he stood up and peed all over his clothes and backpack one night, along with wetting his top bunk where it dripped through onto a girl in the bed below. But he managed to blag it, saying, "Oh, I spilled my bottle of water." However, she was smarter than him, obviously. And the next time he bumped into her and her friends had nicknamed him Fred Wet the Bed. You might as well do that, you know, carry on. So my main advice tonight for Kirsty would be, make sure you put that pretty dress somewhere nice. All jokes aside, and believe it or not, there were meant to be some. Fred's been an absolute brilliant mate to me and quite a few of the other boys here today, and I can't wait for the times ahead. We've experienced and done so much together, and he's always been there for me, especially if the word pub is ever mentioned. As expected on his stag, he was a brilliant sport and took everything thrown at him without flinching, including a spray tan, various embarrassing outfits, but on other faults most of them are better than what he usually goes out. He did a naked bomb in pool and was happy to drink whatever we passed his way. So I must say thanks for being a brilliant stag and making the job an easier one for me. I think they're a great couple together, great couple because Kirsty can give as much as she gets from Fred, but she can be pretty wild herself sometimes. Both know how much they enjoy a bottle of bud. I was there the night Fred and Kirsty got together and I've enjoyed every moment. I have this message. Sorry, here we go. Caught up in that one, guys. I was there the night Fred and Kirsty got together and I've enjoyed every moment. I've had the pleasure of spending with them both since. As a couple, they've become known as thirsty by a few of us, which is actually quite ironic considering the pair of lush nuts I both. Don't worry, Kirsty, we'll be tasting in a minute. They're always up for a laugh and making the most of every opportunity thrown their way, not to mention what a great job they've done with little Hudson King over there. Or Kirsty's kid, as we like to call him. As I mentioned, Kirsty, you look beautiful as expected today, but I don't want to get too mushy as we all know how tearful Fred can get. Especially after a trip to Ibiza. Just so you all know, last time it was only Britain's Got Talent, surprise to set him off. Just a quick couple of thank you though to finish up. Firstly to Laura for the time and effort she's put into making Fred's hair look half presentable for his business. You did the best you could, mate. And lastly, to all the lads that came to Ibiza on the stag do, not only made it pretty painless for me, but also making sure Fred had a great time. Fred had a great time. And if he didn't, I thank you boys more. So for you boys, especially you, Kingy, come and find me later and we'll make sure we have one for the ride. Finally, I'd like to ask you all to raise a glass. Raise a glass for Fred and Kirsty and wish them as much luck in the future as they've had in the past. To Fred and Kirsty.